Chapter 2. The Revenant Tide. Part 2. The wind shifted as if the sea itself drew breath. The Revenant Tide cut through the water like a blade, her sails trembling but full, her hull whispering as the waves broke against her. The air smelled of salt and iron, and beneath it all, something faintly metallic, like blood left too long in the sun. By midday, the storm had faded, but clouds gathered on the horizon, bruised and heavy. The crew worked in silence, uneasy with their new vessel. Every few minutes, one of them would glance toward the hold, where the hum seemed to come from, soft, steady, a pulse that rose and fell with the sea. At the helm, William steered into the wind. His eye burned whenever he looked toward the east, as though the Scar itself could sense something beyond sight. Isla approached, her hair tied back with a strip of red cloth. "The men are restless," she said. "They say the ship talks when no one's below deck." "Men hear what they fear," William replied, "and they fear what they don't understand." "Maybe," she said quietly, "but even fear has reason, Captain. I checked the hole myself. There's markings, etched into the timbers, old, like they were burned into the wood. Symbols I've never seen." He looked at her. "Superstition. I've sailed a long time," she said. "This isn't superstition." Before he could answer, a shout went up from the crow's nest. "Ship off the port bow." William's head snapped up. Through the spyglass, a dark silhouette rose against the horizon. Black sails, no colors flying. A pirate ship, no doubt, but not one he recognized. He lowered the glass. "Company." The lookout shook his head. "No flag, sir. Just black." William felt the hum in his bones again, growing stronger. It wasn't just the sea this time. It was the ship herself, thrumming beneath his boots. "Bring us around," he ordered. "Let's see what ghost haunts these waters." The crew moved quickly. Lines groaned, sails shifted. As the Revenant Tide angled toward the stranger, the wind died completely. The sea flattened to mirror stillness. The other vessel loomed larger, close enough now to make out her details. She was a brig, same size as theirs, but her hull was scorched black. No men moved on deck. Her figurehead, a mermaid, had been defaced, her face carved into a scream. "By God," muttered one of the crew. Then came the stench, rot, salt, and something far fouler. "Dead ship," Isla whispered. "Drifting." William's jaw tightened. "Drop the sails." "We board." "Board that," one man barked. "You've lost your damn mind." "Then stay here and rot," William snapped. "The rest of you come." They lowered a boat and rowed across the still water. The closer they came, the colder the air grew. Not the chill of weather, but something deeper, unnatural. When William's boots hit the other deck, it echoed hollow. No bodies, no blood, just silence. He moved toward the wheel. The wood was slick with salt, the wheel still turning slightly on its own. He touched it, and the hum surged through him like lightning. Visions flashed. A storm, men screaming, a chest bound in iron chains. And a voice, faint, distant, find what was lost. He staggered back, breath ragged. "Captain," Isla asked, stepping toward him. Before he could answer, one of the crew shouted from below deck. "Captain, you'd better see this." They followed the voice into the hold. The air grew thick, heavy, the scent of death almost choking. In the center of the cargo bay sat a single crate, iron-bound, the wood carved with the same sigils Isla had described. The lid was cracked open. Inside lay nothing but seawater, sloshing faintly even though the crate was half empty. Yet the water glowed faint green, like moonlight trapped in a bottle. One sailor leaned close. "Looks like treasure to me." Before anyone could stop him, he reached in. The water went still. Then his hand convulsed. He screamed, an awful, gurgling sound, as black veins spread up his arm. His eyes turned white, and his body went rigid before collapsing to the floor. The hum turned to a roar. The sea outside answered. "Back to the boat," William shouted. They ran. As they climbed over the rail, the other ship began to list, timbers groaning. The sea beneath it churned with unnatural light, spiraling like a whirlpool. William's men rowed hard. Behind them, the derelict brig shuddered, then sank nose first into the black water, the light fading as it went under. Silence returned. No one spoke until they were aboard the Revenant Tide again. The dead sailor's name was whispered, a prayer muttered. Then the crew turned their eyes to their captain. William looked to the horizon, jaw set. "Whatever that was," he said, "the Spaniards found something in the Yucatan. Something the sea wants back." Isla crossed her arms. "And you think that thing's calling you?" He didn't answer. That night, they buried the sailor at sea. The body slid into the water with barely a splash. As it sank, faint green light shimmered beneath the waves. William stood at the rail, staring into the dark. "Scarlet," he whispered, "I'll get to you, love, even if hell stands between us." A whisper answered, not in his ears but in his mind. A woman's voice, distant, echoing beneath the water. "William." He froze. The voice was unmistakable. "Scarlet." He leaned over the rail, searching the depths. For a heartbeat, he saw her, her face pale and luminous beneath the surface, eyes open, hair flowing like flame in the dark. Then she was gone. The hum returned, stronger now, as though the sea itself were alive beneath the hull. Isla's voice cut through his trance. "Captain, you're not going mad on me already." He straightened, forcing a grin. "Mad-eyed, remember? Madness keeps me company." She snorted. But don't let it steer the ship." He turned back to the horizon. Somewhere beyond those waves waited the Estrella del Mar. The Spanish galleon Vane was after. And William knew, without knowing why, that their fates were now tangled. At dawn, they sighted sails. 3 masts cutting through the haze, flags bearing the golden sun of Spain. The Estrella del Mar. The crew readied their weapons. Cannons were loaded, muskets primed. The air was electric with fear and greed. William stood at the helm. "No guns till I say," he ordered. "We shadow her first. She's heavy with relics, and I'd rather steal than sink her." They pursued at a distance. The Spaniard's hull gleamed in the morning light, a fortress afloat. Priests stood on her deck, clutching crucifixes. "Superstitious lot," Islam muttered. "Maybe for good reason," William said. "Look there on the aft deck." Through the glass he saw it. A chest, bound in chains, guarded by armed men. Even at this distance, he could feel its pull. The same pull he'd felt on the ghost ship. The sea around them began to darken again, unnatural shadows twisting beneath the surface. A sailor crossed himself. "Captain," the water's glowing again. Then came the whispering, soft, layered, impossible to place. Voices beneath the sea, chanting in a tongue no man knew. The Spaniards' sailors heard it too. Panic rippled through their ranks. Some fell to their knees, praying. Others stared into the depths in horror. And then the sea erupted. A column of water burst upward between the ships, spraying mist and light. For an instant, William saw something vast and coiled rise within it. Scales like stone, eyes like suns beneath the waves. The Spaniard fired first. Cannonballs screamed through the air, one smashing into the Revenant Tide's mast. The deck exploded in splinters. "Return fire," William bellowed. The roar of cannons filled the sky. Smoke engulfed them. Through the chaos, William steered closer, using the wind to swing alongside. Grappling hooks flew. "Board her!" The 2 ships collided with a crash that rattled bones. William drew his cutlass and leapt across the gap, landing among the Spaniards like a thunderbolt. Steel met steel, the deck slick with blood and rain. Isla fought at his side, her pistol cracking, blade flashing. "Remind me," she shouted, "why do we always pick the cursed ones?" "Because the cursed ones pay better." They drove forward toward the chain chest. The priests stood in their path, chanting louder now, the relic glowing between them. William cut one down and kicked the chest open. Inside was no gold, only a stone tablet, etched with the same sigils as the ghost ship, humming with light. The glow flared, blinding. The hum became a roar. The sea answered again, a pulse of impossible force. The decks split apart. The world tilted. William felt himself falling, the light swallowing everything, then silence. He awoke hours later on a beach. The wreckage of both ships lay scattered along the shore. Smoke drifted over the water. The air was heavy and still. He rose unsteadily. The Revenant Tide was broken but not gone. Her hull half buried in the sand, her lantern still glowing faintly green. Around him, the survivors stirred. Isla coughed beside him, dragging herself to her feet. "We alive?" "Not sure," he said hoarsely. "Feels close enough." She pointed toward the horizon. That island wasn't on any map. He followed her gaze. The island rose from the sea like the spine of some sleeping beast. Jungle-covered cliffs, waterfalls pouring into mist. Strange ruins glimmered atop the peaks, half-buried and ancient. The air hummed faintly. William Scarburned. "Captain," Isla said quietly. "What now?" He stared at the island, at the shapes carved into the stone that matched the sigils from the relic and the ghost ship. He smiled grimly. "Now," he said, "we find what was lost." The hum answered, rolling through the sand like distant thunder. Behind them, the Revenant Tide's lanterns flared once, burning bright green. And out on the horizon, far beyond sight, something vast moved beneath the waves, watching.